You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? From the mouth of Jack Nicholson, the quote, though applicable and uttered by the Joker, is perhaps most appropriate when applied to Mephisto. Hey guys, CJ here, coming at you with another Villains Month character bio. Literally, the devil, he goes by many names. His origin is actually probably the toughest one I've done all Villains Month, and maybe the toughest one I've ever done since I've been doing character bios. How do you tell the origin story of the devil himself? But after exhaustive research, we've come up with what we feel to be the definitive origin of the Silver-Tongued Stealer of Souls. And this is our second to last Villains Month bio, so enjoy it, soak it all in, sit back and let the evil wash over you. Mephisto is a villain of old, first appearing in 1968 in an issue of the Silver Surfer number 3, in fact, and they set up his soul-stealing ways early on, as he tried most of the tools at his disposal but failed to capture the spirit of the Silver Surfer, something power cosmic, and believe it or not, he only got more evil. But as I mentioned, how do you narrow down the origin of an eternal being? Well, believe it or not, Mephisto started somewhere. But that where is also a point of contention. If you believe Mephisto himself, he was created, and he and his kind, I should say, were created by the original owner of the Infinity Gauntlet. But that may not be true, as an altering and more fleshed out version that we're going to present in a few seconds offers a different proposal. He and his kind were actually created in the wake of a massive energy burst, caused with the death of the Elder Gods at the hands of Demagog. They each rule over their own hellish dimension. Mephisto's in particular is referred to as Hades or Hell interchangeably. And this has a lot to do with the fact that he's often confused with the biblical Satan. And if you've seen the images of him in any of the slides that I've listed previously, you should know why. It's pretty apparent. Honestly, little else is known about Mephisto's rise to power, but all we know is that he's essentially a demon with no moral compass. What else would you expect from the devil? His hobbies include stealing people's souls in various ways, from monkey's paw-style contracts, which you might refer to as deals with the devil, or just outright taking souls. In particular, he likes to specifically target the good or noble, which I assume is more fun because of the challenge. And Norrin Radd is a good example of that. He's always tried to capture the Silver Surfer's soul, and he always seems to be surprised by how noble the Silver Surfer really is. And literally, that's about it for Mephisto's origin. He seems to have been created and is still evil. Millions of years ago, he's an essentially eternal being, and he's an eternal force of evil. In exchange for another origin slide, though, I want to do something fun. Here's a list of the heroes he screwed over the most in the Marvel Universe. Ghost Rider, who he actually pretty much created. Spider-Man, who, if any of you read One More Day, he pretty much fucked up his entire life. Silver Surfer, who, as I mentioned, he's tried to steal the soul of many times. Doctor Doom, who he also had a hand in creating as he killed his mother. Mockingbird, he stole her soul and then lost it. Doctor Strange, Thor, who he's interacted with many times. The Fantastic Four, whose souls he's tried to steal on multiple occasions. Black Panther, and countless others. So he's pretty much taken on the entire Marvel Universe with varying levels of success. But he's pretty persistent, and he's actually captured everyone on that list's soul from time to time. Mephisto's abilities are many and varied, fitting given a being of his power level. I also like to imagine that one of his abilities is the ability to go down to Georgia and play a mean fiddle, but that's not really listed ever. He can control mystical energy and magic, including becoming invisible, creating magical barriers, various illusions and conjuration, teleporting, and he can even change his size and shape at will. Beyond this, he has many other powers perhaps not known to man, and is a being of near unlimited power. On top of this, he's very intelligent, which is perhaps the ability that he leans on the most, as that's all he needs to manipulate mortals and trick them into these monkey's paw-style contracts, which they almost always come to regret later. Now for some recommended reading. It's really hard to narrow this down for Mephisto because, as I attempted to highlight when I did the list of people he screwed, he's been just about everywhere. But here are a few highlights. Silver Surfer issues number 3 through 4, 8 through 9, and 15 through 17. Now, this is his origin, and the rest of these issues just chronicle his attempts to steal Silver Surfer's soul, usually involving Silver Surfer's wife. And in fact, his premiere saw him kidnap Silver Surfer's wife and essentially, hold him hostage. He was like, give me your soul or I'll teleport her to the other side of the universe, pretty much. And he didn't do it, and so he teleported his wife to the other side of the universe. Eventually, he would capture Silver Surfer's soul, but it was only after many, many attempts. Ghost Rider, 1973 to 1983. And this goes back to what I mentioned about him essentially having a hand in the creation of Ghost Rider with that sort of deal with the devil style method that he usually operates with. Thor from 1970 to 1972, numbers 180 to 181 and 204 to 205. Now, this is not the only times he interacted with Thor. He actually interacted with Thor a ton, very often. He does it a lot. These are just, his first interactions with Thor pretty early on. And this is from, the early 70s. Spider-Man One More Day. And this is a really, really, really big one. It's 2007 to 2008. It was a 4-issue crossover arc. And essentially, Aunt May was dying. Without going too much into it, Mephisto offered him a deal. He would save Aunt May's life in exchange for Peter Parker and Mary Jane's marriage, which was pure love and, apparently sanctified by God. And Peter and Mary Jane agreed to do the deal, and they were no longer married. And that was met with a ton of backlash, but I digress. Aunt May is alive. It was very unpopular. It led to a complete restructuring of a lot of Spider-Man issues. And just another example of how Mephisto is a giant dick. And that about wraps it up here for me. Mephisto, he's a non-typical character, and he was a non-typical origin for me. It took me a long time to figure out how I was going to do this. And I hope you enjoyed the little list of people he's screwed. The list is bigger than that. Like, everyone in the Marvel Universe he's pretty much screwed at one point or another. So that's a downside of living in the Marvel Universe, I guess, if that's something you dream about. But anyways, I hope you're psyched for the next and final character bio in Villains Month. I am very excited. This is one I've been preparing for. This is actually the one I was going to do first for Villains Month, and Josh suggested I punt on it and actually do it on Halloween, and I agree. I think it's perfect, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. I think it'll be a hit, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. In the comments below, tell me, who is the person that Mephisto has screwed the most, in your opinion? Personally, I'm probably going to say Ghost Rider, essentially because he caused that whole thing, or Spider-Man, because he completely did away with that marriage. Anyways, that about wraps it up for me here, so signing off. I'll see you tomorrow with the final Villains Month character bio, and have a good evening.